Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the Q&A. I have a beer, Stella Artois this time, so grab yourself one, settle down, and let's chat about Vegas. Okay, so here we are. I've got a whole load of questions from the video the other week. I'm going to start from the first one that was posted and work my way through. If I don't get to yours, I apologise. There's a whole load. I think I had 176 questions in total, or 176 comments in any case, but we'll see how we go. So straight into it. I've got them to my left, so I'll then look at you after I've read them out. So Checkmate asks, I've been told that if you discreetly slip the receptionist $20 or something with your ID and ask for a complimentary upgrade, you will likely get it. Have you ever tried this, and what kind of upgrade did you receive? Yeah, I try it all the time, and I think for me it's the first sort of gamble in Vegas when you arrive. You're not guaranteed a better room. I would say you've got a great chance of a higher floor with a better view, a strip view when maybe you weren't going to get one initially. And what's the worst that can happen? Basically, they take you 20 quid and don't give you an upgrade, but most of the time you tend to get some form of upgrade, but that is dependent on the day of the week that you check in. If you're checking in on a Saturday, you may struggle a bit. If it's a sort of Tuesday afternoon, I'm sure you'll be fine. So try it anyway. It's always worth a go. And in terms of what kind of upgrade I've got everything from just higher floors with better views up to a suite when I booked a regular king room. So it certainly works. Zinnia asks, shocked that for all your slot play that MLife has only given you $75 in free play up to now. Now, it's not really a question, it's more of a statement, but I wanted to just cover that off. I think UK visitors do look at Vegas trips a little bit different to US visitors because we tend to come for longer. If you look at my trip coming up in November, I'm there for 10 nights. I've got 4 nights at Excalibur in a royal suite. I've got 3 nights downtown in the Downtown Grand, and then I've got 3 nights back on the Strip at Mandalay Bay. Now, everything there is free. No resort fees, nothing. So I've got 10 nights accommodation free, and the only reason I've done that is because I've spread my play around to both downtown and on the Strip. I've also booked Planet Hollywood via Caesars Rewards, so I tend to try and give Caesars Rewards, MLife, and either Downtown Grand or Plaza, depending which trip it is and whether I've got a group pool going on, a bit of action so that I get almost sort of like tee up the free rooms for the next trip. So I'm sure if I just played MLife on its own and didn't go anywhere else, I'd get a whole lot more than $75 in free play, but then I wouldn't get 10 nights free. This Vegas trip, I'll go into more detail a bit later, but this Vegas trip fundamentally has cost me £260 for a return flight to LAX and nothing in hotel costs. So that's unreal, right? For 10 nights. So a £260 holiday basically, plus spending money, which most of that will be gambling money, so we'll have to see how that goes. But there's no way I could do that anywhere else, and there's no way I could do that if I just concentrated on one player's card. Yo Jemmy says, my question is, had Suzanne ever been to Vegas before she met you, and how soon in your relationship did you tell her how much this place means to you? Thanks. Well, funny enough, after our first date, I went straight out to Vegas the following day. I flew out the following day, and I stayed at Imperial Palace and Orleans. So yes, she knew it from a very early stage. She'd never been to Vegas before, and we started dating. When was it? It was 2009 we started dating, and we went to Vegas together for the first time in 2010, and she's been every year since. To be fair, she only really goes because I love going. It probably wouldn't be her first choice destination. That's not to say she doesn't like it. She really enjoys it, but obviously she's going because she's with me really, and she hadn't been before. Okay, next question. How do you get all the MLife offers? I'm at Silver and never receive any emails or offers from them. Win, on the other hand, I get loads of offers for. Well, they're all on the website. So basically, you have to sign into your account on the MLife site and just click on offers, and they're there basically. Mine have gone up slightly for this trip. I've got four nights free plus 150 free play and 150 resort credit, which is more than I've ever had before. So that's good. So yes, you just need to click on that and have a look, and it will be there. I can assure you. I never seem to get emails from them, so whether or not they don't do the emails and just do it via the site, I'm not sure. But if you're waiting for an email, you might not get that. So be proactive and go on the site, I would say. Okay, Sam Wyatt says, what are my thoughts on Venetian? Sam and his wife are staying there early November and wondered if I had any tips or advice. I'm sorry, Sam, I don't actually. You may have noticed in my vlogs that there are 4 properties that I rarely go in, and they are Venetian, Palazzo, Wynn and Encore. Part of that is because I never get comps there, and based on what I just said in terms of spreading the play around at certain cards, I guess the cards at those resorts I've never really put any effort into doing anything with. I keep repeatedly saying I must give them a bit of time down the line, but it never seems to happen. And to be fair, historically they've not necessarily been my favourite properties down the years, certainly in terms of the gambling, but I'm sure I'll get around to them at some point, but I've never stayed there, so sadly can't help you with that. Okay, Marge Johnson says, when you go to Vegas, is there one thing that is a must-do when there, besides enjoying Budweiser? Is it going to a favourite restaurant, casino, bar, etc.? On Marge's trips, hang on, she always makes time to go to the California Hotel for Hawaiian food cravings. I love the California, Marge. I can totally appreciate that. I guess with Suzanne, I always go to Oscars. I say it every trip, but it's true. Other than that, I just do Vegas. You know, it's sort of, I always try and stay in different places. One of the reasons I booked Excalibur this time was because I hadn't stayed there since my first solo trip in 2006. So it's a long time, and I thought, well, actually, that's the one MLife property I've not vlogged as well. Once I've vlogged this one, I'll have vlogged every MLife property. So, you know, I just like a bit of a change. I really enjoy chopping up the destinations and having a brand new casino to try, and a brand new location, brand new room. So I couldn't, if I went there for 10 or 14 days, I couldn't just stay in one place. I like hopping around, as I do most evenings. I very rarely stay in one casino for the whole night. So yeah, it's just that really. Restaurants, I'm not really a foodie, and so many people keep saying to me, can you do more food vlogs? It's just not me. You know, I can't help it. It just isn't. Okay, next question. Okay, this has nothing to do with Vegas. However, my curiosity is piqued by your seemingly large music collections. Genres, eras, what are your favourites? Well, you can see behind me there's a whole load of box sets and CDs and whatever. I would say really it's 70s and 80s, some 90s. My favourite artists, obviously, Smiths and Morrissey, Soft Cell, Mark Almond, Public Image Limited, Sex Pistols, all that type of stuff. And yeah, I listen to music. I'm probably as obsessed with music as I am Vegas, I would say, for sure. I've been buying records, and I'm really into physical media. I hate streaming. I hate downloading. I would much rather have you know, a vinyl record, and I still buy them now, and I have there's a record player just in front of me over there. So yeah, it's a big part of my life for sure. Okay, next, Restyle secrets. Hang on, quick beer before we carry on. Do you get any flack from friends and family about your love for Vegas and frequent trips? I live in a mildly conservative area, and sometimes friends, and he puts that, when hearing I'm planning a trip, will raise an eyebrow and say, again, didn't you just go? Tell me about it. Yes, lol, a year ago, I've resorted to saying, yes, why do you ask? And that leaves them stumbling. Yet they go to the same damn place in Florida every year. I love it, yeah. I tell you, there was one guy at work, he's retired now, but there was a guy at work who I would actually go as far as to say it irritated him that I spent my holiday going back to Vegas. Now, quite what it had to do with him, I absolutely have no idea. Every single time he came over and he would say, "Oh, I'll see you on holiday next week. No need to say where you're going." And he almost said it in a really aggressive sort of argumentative way. And it was like, it's my holiday. It's got nothing to do with you. And the funny thing is, this guy was married to a Greek lady, and they go back to Greece every single summer. So what's the difference? And yes, it is amazing with Vegas how often you get comments, sly comments from people. And it's happened so often, and it's happened to such a degree, certainly at work, I've actually lied about where I've been going. I mean, crazy really, but it's true. So yeah, I'm totally with you on that. And I'm sure a lot of you that are watching that go every year, or maybe multiple times a year, will also get that. You know what? Fuck them. I couldn't give a shit. You know, at the end of the day, you know, it is my happy. You know, I'm never happier than when I'm in Vegas. It's an absolute fact. Why? I've tried loads of different locations. I've been to most of the Caribbean islands. I've been to most of Europe, other places in the US. I've tried them. I just always wish I was back in Vegas. So now I don't fight it. So for me, you know, yeah, it's amazing. And I noticed your comment has got 8 likes. So clearly people are with you on that one, Restyle Secrets. Okay, Michael Cruising says, "Hey Matt, what do you do to be able to jump the pond so often? Also, ever thought about just moving to the States? It sure seems like you're over here enough that the money saved could be worth it." Well, the second question first. No, I wouldn't move to America. For me, it's a holiday destination. I'm not sure it would be the same if I was there and then had to earn a living and all of that. Just my personal preference on it. And also, you know, I'm English and I have well, my roots are here, my family's here. And as much as I love America, I'll always be English, and that's the end of it, really. And in terms of jumping the pond so often, well, I mean, as I've mentioned or hinted at in a number of my videos, my work situation is changing big time. I'm probably very close to resigning from work in the next week or so, and I'm having a whole change of philosophy. I've been working in corporate banking for 35 years, right, and in the city, and it that really takes its toll. There's been a huge amount of traveling, and I've got to the point where I don't want to do it anymore. So to be honest, you know, in terms of what I do moving forward, I want the channel to help me maintain my Vegas trips and help me keep making the vlogs. And this next trip in November will be funded from the YouTube income I've earned since August for the first time. My budget will be lower. I've got about $300 a night gambling budget. So it'll be interesting to see how I get on compared to previous trips where I've had $500-600 a night. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. I'm going to need to show a little bit of discipline rather than just gambling all day, every day. There's no way that can happen. So anyway, it's going to be an interesting trip to see how I cope with that. It's not going to spoil it. I'm going to love being there, but whether I notice a difference, I'm probably going to start gambling lower amounts and just see how things go. But anyway, that's for the next trip. But yeah, in terms of moving forward, I'm basically going to be probably an Uber driver and YouTuber. So yeah, if you need a lift, let me know. Okay, hey Helen says, check and see if you can use the resort credit at any MLife property. Most times you can, then you're not limited to Excalibur food choices. Okay, yeah. I'm not sure if you've ever mentioned it. What is your profession? As I said, I was in banking for a number of years, and that's pretty much answering your question. Brandon Cox says, what's the difference between Las Vegas and the casinos you have in England? Well, the casinos we have in England are incredibly sad. They don't allow the big casinos there's a maximum number of slots basically per casino in the UK due to laws and legislation, etc. They did try and pass a law that allowed super casinos some years back, but it got turned down. But basically, you get a few slots that everyone's trying to get on. There's lots of table games and everything, but they're really. I have no compulsion really to visit UK casinos generally. And the best one in London is probably Asper's at Stratford, and probably the best one that I've been to full stop in the UK is Victoria Gate in Leeds, which obviously we've got the TBC thing coming up in November. So those of you that are coming to that and haven't been there, I think you'll be quite impressed with it. But really, even that is not on a scale of Vegas at all. No free drinks, blah blah blah. That's it. Okay, Timdale77, 2 questions. You play lots of slots, have table games or video poker never interested you? Honestly, no, not really. I've done a bit of roulette, bit of blackjack, but it's the potential of winning a big hit with a small stake, number one. And number two, because I like a beer when I'm playing, I want to do something that isn't too taxing and something I haven't really got to concentrate on. Those are the 2 reasons why I've always stuck with slots. Second question, with all of the beer options available to gamblers in the casinos, have you thought of trying different ones other than Budweiser? And what do you drink back in the UK? That's John in New York, formerly in Wimbledon, UK. Hi, John. Well, yeah, actually, funny enough, at home I don't drink Budweiser. I used to, I don't anymore. I'm drinking Stella tonight. I alternate between that and San Miguel normally. To be honest, I started drinking Budweiser back in the late 90s in Vegas because it was something that I could drink at home and get anywhere else, and I just sort of quite liked it. It's not the best beer in the world. It's a light beer, but if you're drinking huge amounts on a daily basis on a Vegas trip, you could do far worse. I just draw the line at anything that has light in the title. But Budweiser's nice. As I said, those 2 beers at home. Shelley Ann. I absolutely love all of your vlogs. Thank you for including the history and your own personal history too. I attempted the 5 good luck things to do at Caesars after seeing your video and it jinxed her. Oh well, it was fun anyway. My question is, do you tip on a fucking ham pay? If yes, how much? Because I plan to get one next time. Well, I've never had a massive ham pay. Mine are always sort of 1,500 or so, and I normally tip $20 on that sort of level. I think there is a sliding scale. If it was above 20, I think you'd probably go up to, sorry, if it was above 2,000, you'd probably go up to $30 or something. But yeah, for a sort of 1,200, 1,500, 2 grand, I would say $20 is fine. Okay, Derek Kershaw says, his question is, where is the best place to buy show tickets? Well, we either get them before we arrive, or if we're in Vegas, it's always via Tickets for Tonight. You'll see they have booths up and down the strip and downtown. Although actually, funny enough, I noticed the one at Four Queens wasn't there last time I went. But there are quite a few. There's one just next to the Hard Rock Cafe. Yeah, I mean, you can get on the day of a show, you can get a lot of discounts via Tickets for Tonight, so I would always look that up for sure. Okay, Storm Along John. Hi, Storm Along John. Do you have hollow legs because you could put those buds down? What's your hangover remedy? Well, funny enough, I don't actually get hangovers really, but I think that's because I only drink beer, and my body very quickly tells me when I've had enough and I just stop. So I can put the Budweisers down, and despite I might slur my words occasionally, or a lot towards the end of an evening, I wake up the following morning absolutely fine. I may get slightly dehydrated and have a headache, but a couple of paracetamol and away you go. So no, I don't have a problem at all drinking solidly for 2 weeks, to be honest. I never have had, and I do keep myself quite fit. I do run and what have you, so maybe that helps. But no, I don't tend to get hangovers. That's a genuine answer. Okay, Odd Shaped Balls. Hello, Odd Shaped Balls. I'm sure you've probably covered this, but how do you get free stays, free credit, etc.? Thank you. Well, it's amazing how many people ask this, which I would have thought everyone by now would have probably known. Excuse me, but clearly not. I mean, ultimately, whenever you play a game or you spend anything in a shop or you buy anything in a restaurant, you show your player's card, I would always charge everything back to the room and then settle it up at the end. They may be able to knock some of that off for you. Ultimately, as you're playing, it will count up your coin in throughout your stay, and that basically drives the offers that you'll get. There's a whole complicated calculation as to the volume that you gamble on a day-to-day basis, which will drive the offers, but I'm not going to go into that here. But fundamentally, use your card, gamble with it. Do not gamble without your card in the machine or on the table, whatever, and you will get some offers down the line. This is KK Playrush. Since you go to Vegas all the time, can you recall the moment where you said to yourself, I have to come back every year? I actually think it was the first time. Honestly, I was so blown away by Vegas back in '98. We came back after that first trip and we were so buzzing from it, and I genuinely think from then on I knew I'd always go back. I'd never seen anything like it, and that's always been the case. Craig MK6, are you looking forward to the TBC meet in Leeds? Yeah, for those of you that don't know, this is the Vegas Club group stroke podcast that I'm a part of, and we've got a meet up in Victoria Gate in Leeds, I mentioned earlier, on the 16th of November. I fly out to Vegas on the 18th, so it's going to be some weekend. Am I looking forward to it? It's a hell of a lot of people going. There's something between 80 and 100 people going, which makes me a little bit uncomfortable, if I'm brutally honest. And actually, funny enough, I was reading a thing about introverted extroverts. Apparently, it's a personality type, and I think I'm very much like that. I can quite happily do presentations in front of people, host the group pools and all of that. But sometimes the thought of sort of 80 people that know you and you don't necessarily know them is a bit overwhelming for me. So am I looking forward to? I'm sure it'll be a great night. And we've done one down in London. We've done this one in Leeds. I don't think there are any plans for any more after this, and certainly I'm not sure I would want to do something on the same sort of scale because I don't know, I find it quite pressurised really. So, but I am looking forward to it, and I'm sure it will be a great night. But it will be the last one that I'll do on this scale for sure. But if you're going, I will see you there, and I'm sure we'll have a great time. Are MGM properties your favourite properties in Vegas? Sorry, this is by Craig as well. Yes, they are. Aside from Cosmo, which is probably behind Bellagio, my second favourite strip property in general, I just tend to think that MGM properties are overall of a better standard than Caesars properties. I mean, if you look at the likes of Flamingo and Harrah's even, you sort of think, they're not as quite as smart as the MGM ones for me. You have more. If you look at Delano, if you look at Aria, you look at Vidara, you look at Bellagio. I mean, these are really, really nice properties, and I would probably rather stay at any of those ahead of, aside from Caesars Palace, probably ahead of any other Caesars property. But so yeah, I think they are for sure. Unless you talk about downtown, but they're not really of the same standard. It's a different vibe entirely. So yeah, MGM is for sure my favourite. Jackie Boswell, can you please tell me about the MLife Players card? We're going in January and I want to make the most of it. As I said, use it every time you're gambling. Get it as soon as you're there. Go over to the MLife desk, show your ID, and away you go. It's that straightforward. Sam Milligan says, hi Sam, a question regarding Uber. Do you set it up in the UK before you go or in Las Vegas when you arrive, as I've never used it? Thank you, enjoying the new vlogs. I think I set it up in Vegas, but you can do it either way, it doesn't matter. well, bearing in mind I'm going to become an Uber driver, I can thoroughly recommend Uber. Yeah, I mean, it couldn't be any easier, really. Uber is very straightforward in Vegas. I'd also recommend Lyft, Lyft. We don't have it in the UK, but I've been getting an awful lot of 40% off your next 10 ride offers with Lyft. So I wouldn't just do Uber, I'd download the Lyft app as well, and see what offers you get on those too. So give both a try. Brian Osborne says, can't wait to get one of those fucking Handpay t-shirts. Yes, just for a quick plug, I have t-shirts for sale at mattbridgeofvlogs.co.uk. I've sold a whole load of them. As I said, it helps support the channel, it helps me keep the trips coming. So if you fancy one, get over to that address. I've put a link up there, and wear it proudly in Vegas. And I really want somebody to win a Handpay while they're wearing one. So if you do, let me know. Susan Martin says, hi Matt, love your vlogs. I'm an annual visitor to Vegas, but not really a seasoned gambler like yourself. So I'd like to ask, what denomination is it best to gamble at? I noticed when you do Lightning Link, you do 10-cent denomination at $2.50, but then on other slots you sometimes do 1 cent or 5 cent. Just wondered if you could explain it to a gambling novice. Well, I mean, there's not really any rule on it. I mean, the only thing that is 100% factual is that the higher the denomination, the higher the payback percentage to the player is. So if you play a penny machine, it will be overall a lower payback percentage than a 10-cent machine, for example, or $1 or $5 or $100, whatever. Now, in the short term, you're unlikely to notice a difference. Even throughout a trip, you may not notice a difference, but in the long term, you will definitely notice a difference. So I would always say play the highest denomination you can afford for that reason. The reason I play the 10-cent Lightning Links really is because of the minor and the mini being 500 and 100, as opposed to on the 1 cent version they're 50 and 10. And you've seen in my videos how often I've hit the 500. So to me, it's a decent bet. $2.50 isn't that high, and it gives you a chance of a decent hit. Having said all of that, of course, I hit on the Dragon Link on the last time I hit the major of 1,000 playing a penny machine, albeit $5 a press. I was literally hitting 50 cents, $5, 50 cents, $5, and got it on the $5 a press bonus. I doubt I'd have probably got that on the 50-cent bonus if that had come first. But yeah, just do whichever you feel more comfortable at, and just take a, you know, when you set the denomination, have a look at what happens with the progressives upstairs, because they may well alter. And sometimes, as I said, you can do if you're happy doing a couple of bucks, you can do that on a higher denomination as opposed to a lower one anyway, and you're still betting the same amount, so it doesn't really affect your bankroll. So it is a bit of trial and error, if I'm honest. Yeah, just give it a go and see how you get on. Darren Graham, do you have a daily budget? And for those who can't afford to put hundreds into machines, any advice on how to use denominations to make your gameplay last? I'm there those dates, so just need to see if I have the 200 in budget for the group pull. Okay. Well, actually, I said this next set of vlogs will be very interesting because I won't have the bankroll that I've had the last 3 trips this year. It will be, roughly, I don't know, 50% of what I've been playing with. So I'm going to probably start off on slightly lower bets of $1.50 and then see what happens. So I don't know, advice in terms of making your gameplay last. I would start low and see how you go. I really would. I would always occasionally, even if it's just 100 or so, do something at maybe $2.50 or $3 a press. You could do over the course of a trip, maybe set aside 200 or 300 to do higher limit gaming. I mean, I always like it when I play $5 top dollar or $5 Wheel of Fortune, for example, which is $10 a press. Now, over the course of a trip, I probably only play that a couple of times, but I always find it very exciting, and it's amazing how often you can get the spin. So I would start low, work your way up. I'm thinking I might set some money aside to have a couple of nights of my 10-night stay at 600, and then some other nights at slightly less. But we'll see how much I manage to cobble together budget-wise. But by the time I'm there, but it's going to be an interesting trip, this one, on that basis. Mark Anderson. Hi, Mark. My question is, what are some of your favourite properties in Vegas that are no longer around? Well, I mean, there's one, Stardust. Stardust, for me, was my favourite property, bar none. I absolutely loved it there. And I was upset when it closed down, and I'm still upset that it's closed down. It was fantastic, and I think I've got a downer on Resorts World because it is going to replace Stardust actually, which is funny. Maybe I like it when it opens, but yeah, Stardust for sure. No others really, because there hasn't been that many. I'm trying to think if anything else closed down. Actually, funny enough, Aladdin. I'm going to do a walkthrough of Planet Hollywood because I've booked to stay there for a night or so. This next trip, purely because I want to do a full walkthrough of Planet Hollywood and explain, how I loved Aladdin really, and probably to look for some of the telltale signs that it was once Aladdin, which are still there if you look hard enough. I was really excited. The first year I went to Vegas, the old Aladdin building was closed, still standing but closed. I think the second year it was imploded, and then they built the brand new Aladdin. I forget when that opened exactly. 2004 was it? I don't know. But I absolutely loved Aladdin, and I was disappointed that it didn't work. And as much as I love the brand of Planet Hollywood, I was disappointed when Aladdin didn't work. So, in terms of an initial theme, that one I really miss. Okay, Tina Marie Diaries. I've been watching from day one. Thank you, Tina, and really enjoy every single video. So, in your recent trip to Caesars, do you think touching all the good luck statues helped? And would once you get a massive amount of subscribers, would you consider doing this as a full-time job? I don't think it made any difference. No, I think it was. To be honest with you, I just as I was thinking about how to kick the trip off, I just thought, oh, that's quite I'd read about these lucky things, and I just thought, oh, that'd be quite a fun way of starting the trip off. I didn't think it would actually work. So yeah, that's so no, I'm not really that superstitious, if I'm honest. I have no problem slipping a $50 bill into a slot machine. I had lots of $50 bills last trip, and I never changed them up. I just carried on playing with them. And I know a lot of people say that $50 bills are unlucky. I had a very lucky trip, so it's clearly a whole load of rubbish. And in terms of doing it as a full-time job, well, I'm going to do more YouTubing as part of my new life. In terms of full-time job, I mean, it's not ever going to generate a full-time income. There's one person I can think of in the sort of slot community that can get away with full-time. I'm very pleased with how my videos are. I'm quite proud that, of all these Vegas vlogs that have popped up over the years, I was probably the first person to do Vegas vlogs with slots embedded within it. That the sort of format that I now do, which everyone seems to also do, I guess I came up with that. I mean, I can't think of anybody else that did it like that before me. So I'm quite pleased with that, because there are so many people that are doing vlogs now, and good luck to everybody. But it was there was no one around back then, and you're only talking sort of 5 years. But I'm really pleased with that, and I'm really pleased with how the channel's gone. I love doing the videos. That's the bottom line. And actually, if anyone wants any tips about vlogging, if you don't have a passion for vlogging, you will never do it full long term. You will never ever do it long term. Those are the people that tend to sort of start and drop off, or you have to have a real determination and inner love of doing vlogs. And I love looking back on my own, and that's to be honest, whatever else happens, as a memory bank for me, that is the most important thing for it. The fact that a lot of people like watching them now, and it's an added bonus. But I just love doing the videos. I really do. And if I'm pissed off and I stick a video on of a decent slot session, or just some Vegas bits and bobs, I don't know, I love it. So anyway, so yes, not full time as in a full time job, but I'll do as much vlogging as I can, but I'm only really interested in doing vlogs in Vegas. I'm not really interested in doing too many outside of that, to be honest. And again, that just comes with, I wouldn't have the passion for it to keep it up, and I don't tend to start things and not keep them up. So for as long as I'm enjoying it, I'll carry on. Okay, Paul B says, question 1, could you give me a rough estimate on how much time per day is taken up on slot play when you're on a solo trip? Well, again, this one will be slightly different. In August, I had every day mapped out in terms of what additional vlogs I wanted to film for the Friday vlog series, and I'm going to do the exact same thing this time. And again, it's not a chore. This is something I enjoy doing. I've thoroughly enjoyed filming all of the walkthroughs and my sort of memories and everything. And I've picked hotels this time which are really close to my heart in terms of Vegas. I think I'm doing 6 ones on the Strip. 7 on the Strip actually. They are, I'll tell you what they are. I'm going to do, excuse me, I'm going to do Planet Hollywood, as I said, because of the whole thing around Aladdin. I'm going to do Circus Circus, and that really is because I want to get a walkthrough done and on my channel before they start fiddling around with the property now that MGM have sold it. So Circus Circus is the second. I'm going to do Sahara, or SLS as was, and then I'm going to do Westgate. I have huge amounts of memories of Westgate. And then at the south end of the Strip, I'm going to do Excalibur, Luxor, and of course Mandalay Bay. Do Mandalay Bay. So I'm going to do Mandalay Bay. So yes, those are the ones that I've got planned for this upcoming trip. And in terms of time taken up on slot play, historically it's been most of the day. You know, I would, aside from eating, walking around, maybe catching a few lounge acts, a few bands on Fremont or whatever, I would always have gaming in mind. The August trip and this one were going to be slightly different because I think the daytime is going to be spent doing the filming. So I'm going to try and stick to evening gambling only, and maybe, as I said, start with slightly lower denominations. If I start doing well, maybe up them a bit. So I still think it will be most evenings for, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours, I'm guessing. But some days it can be a lot longer than that. So, but historically it's been wall-to-wall gambling, really, going back. And it's question 2. Paul's question 2 is there any chance you'll have another Vegas trip with Colin? He is hilarious. Yeah, he is hilarious, and I would love to have another trip with Colin. If you see him, tell him to get saving. That's all I'll say on the matter. Okay, Anita Parnell says, not to get into details, that's personal, but what is your field of employment? I've just told you, corporate banking. And she's just saying that, or questioning how I afford it, basically. And she lives in LA, not halfway around the world from Las Vegas. And even with comps, I can rack up quite an expense at the end of my visits. Well, I want to actually dispel a myth, really. I said at the beginning of this video, this trip for 10 days as a base price will cost me 260 quid. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't go for a weekend in England for 260 quid. Now, because I'll be on my own, I won't really be spending huge amounts on food. I have 150 resort credit at Excalibur and 75 at Mandalay Bay anyway, so that'll take care of probably, I don't know, 7 of the days, I would imagine. You know, I'm not, you know, I really don't eat that much. So really, it's down to how well I do on the gambling, which I'm you know, if I lose, which I'm, you know, likely to, obviously, I'm hoping will be in the hundreds rather than thousands of dollars, or certainly somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000. There's no way. My normal losing trip is about 2.5 grand, maybe 3. It will not go over 2,000. I can guarantee that. So, you know, even if I lost 2 grand, that's you know, $2,000 plus the £260 for the trip. That's all it's going to cost me. And as I said, I'll make that on the YouTube videos. I'll probably make half of that while I'm there. on the YouTube video. So it's, you don't need that much money to go from the UK to Vegas, and it's not expensive. I hear all of these things about Vegas is getting so expensive, blah 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 blah. I just, yeah, okay, they're adding bits on, but to me it's still way, well, I mean, I come from obviously the UK and Europe, which everything is more expensive here compared to the US, but my God, it's still good value for me, it really is. Okay, Curly R. Love watching your vlogs, Matt, and I'd like to know what happens when UK players hit a hand page. Do they pay it all or deduct some like they do to USA players for tax reasons? Heading back in February next year for my second visit, so not been lucky enough to hit big yet. Okay, so yeah, I mean, this is a whole, I could do a whole video on hand pays. I'll give you a quick summary, okay? I know of who hit $10,000 in Flamingo on Harley Davidson wheel bonus playing 80 cents a spin, and he was taxed by Flamingo 30% of his win. If he'd hit that in Caesar's Palace, despite the fact they're both Caesar's properties, he would not have paid the tax. Now the reason is because Caesar's Palace are a registered agent of the tax office in America, and Flamingo aren't. So within the Caesars group, they have different policies with regards to withholding tax in different properties, which for me is completely and utterly crazy. As far as I'm aware, MLife will sort out all the paperwork for to enable them to give you 100% of the win, and I know Cosmo will always give you 100% of the win. Downtown, again, I know of somebody who was at the D who had 30% withheld. I'm not sure necessarily with other properties, because when I've won hand pays down there, I already had my ITIN number, which is basically like a social security number, which, providing you've got the confirmation of that, once you've got one, they will not withhold again. So it's only the initial hit that you potentially will get taxed on. I guess all I would say, there is a treaty between the UK and the US, by the way, so there should be no withholding. All I would say is I would tend to stick, personally, if you've not hit one, I would tend to stick at either Caesar's Palace as a property, or MLife Properties, or Cosmo on the Strip. I can't speak for Venetian or Win. I would hope that they would be classy enough to sort it all out for you like Cosmo do. But yeah, you shouldn't have to pay tax. And if you do, you can get the tax back. You just have to do a tax return the following year. Their tax year is 1st of January to 31st of December, not April as it is in the UK. So January of the following year, get your tax return in, and you will get your tax back. My first hand pay in 2007, I was taxed at Golden Nugget, and I did end up getting it back. The forms had to go back a couple of times. There is a tax office in downtown Vegas who can help you as well. If you're, I basically went back on a separate trip and went in there, and they sorted it out for me. So, but yes, that's really. I could do a whole video of that, but that's really in a nutshell the situation. Have you always been playing slots? This is Mogan's Vent. Have you always been playing slots, or was there a time when you played table games and or poker too? As I said, no, slots really. Occasionally table games, but not recently. Liam and Shell. Hi, Liam and Shell. I know I'll be seeing you at TBC in a few weeks. Can't wait for the vlogs, Matt. Hope you have a great time. Not a Vegas question, but a TBC Leeds question. Oh, okay. Do you know if there's a dress code at the Victoria Gate for the meetup? I don't think there is, Liam. So I think I already replied to you on that one. But no, I don't think there is. You can wear what you like. Dress up as Heidi if you like. Renee Ratcliffe. My question: I've been Pearl at MLife. My bankroll per trip is $2,000. I go twice a year. What is the best strategy to get to gold? I'm not really an expert on how long it takes. I mean, the only thing I do remember is when I was in Luxor with Colin, I got to gold in the time we were at Luxor, which was it 5 nights or 7? It's 5 or 7 nights, and I got to gold by the end of that stay, but we were losing heavily. The best strategy, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Just try and make your money last as long as you can, but you need luck. You know, you need luck to get a few wins that keep you playing longer, which then racks up the points. Blah blah blah. So yeah, just I don't know. Don't overanalyze. I think that's actually this is. I think this is the whole thing with players' cards. Don't overanalyze. Use them, but don't let it dictate your trip. As I said, I love casino hopping, and I would never ever not casino hop if I fancied it, just because it might not be the right thing to do for the player's card. Just enjoy your trip, and really, at the end of the day, whatever comps you get. That's it. And Renee's boyfriend's question: being hot in Vegas for the men, hat or sunscreen, or any advice not to burn your head? Hat for me. I always wear a baseball cap in Vegas. And factor 50 on my head, because I have had some horrific sunburn, particularly in San Francisco with all the clouds, but the rays still came through the clouds. When we went in 2010, I was really struggling. So yeah, hat for sure. Okay, great video. Interested in knowing what is going on with you if you want to share. And also maybe a tour of your music/movie collection. I can't do a tour at the moment because I've set the camera up and I don't want to mess it up. I might do a video of this man cave in a future video. But in terms of what's going on with me, as I said, I'm still gainfully employed, and we're going through a certain process at work. And at the end of that process, I would think I will be resigning, and then I've got my private hire license application in with Transport for London, so hopefully that will come through towards the end of the year, and then I can start 2020 with the Ubering and obviously doing the trips, but the trips need to pay for themselves, as I said, so that's pretty much what's going on. And I'm very excited about my my new life, if I'm honest. It's I've spent these last 4 months really sorting everything out financially, so I'm in a really good place financially. You know, any sort of credit card bills or, you know, outstanding tax, I'm clearing. So I literally start at the beginning of next year in a really good place financially. So, you know, I can then just crack on with a life really that doesn't involve a corporate structure and me reporting into a boss. This is why I've chosen to do Uber, because I can get in my car, flick on the app, do however many hours I want to do, close the app, go home. No one's pressurizing me to do anything I don't want to do. I'm not trying to make it a complete full-time living out of it, just enough to supplement my savings, etc. So it's really, for me, it's really exciting, and it's the first time since I was 16 years of age where I won't be like a hamster on a wheel, which is how I've felt for 35 years. So I really feel I've earned this change, really. I officially retire in 3 years anyway, so we're only talking 3 years of doing something to make a bit of extra cash. But it's very exciting for me, and I think next year is going to be a really good year. Jewel 1795, have you thought about doing a video overview of comps, difference between companies in regards to offers, etc.? I don't know. As I said, just use your card, and whatever comps you get. I think they're all much of a muchness. Personally, I've always thought MLife are really fairly generous with their comps. And really, if you're Pearl or Gold, they're not that dissimilar. You're still going to get 3 nights free probably. You might have to pay resort fees at some of the higher end properties, but I don't know. I do think people can get a little bit obsessed with players clubs. You know, I do not have a strategy with them. I just do my thing, and whatever I end up with, and it seems to work for me. Okay, Tony Brizzy. Hi Tony, how are you? Firstly, the walkthrough vlogs are, in my opinion, your best work. Yeah, I really like them, Tony, actually. Thanks for that. Your knowledge about the different hotels and the history of LV is outstanding. Also, your personal experiences of each resort certainly adds to the vlog. Secondly, the question I have is, have you ever considered moving to Vegas and vlogging like the Trooper? Daily or weekly vlogs playing slots? As I said, no. To be honest, I don't understand how some of the, if you take Brian Christopher aside and Diana and Slot Lady and all of those, some of the mid-sized slot channels, I don't really know how they make it work, because they must lose thousands of dollars. And if you're only making a few thousand on YouTube, it must be ate up by your losses. I don't really see how you can actually make a living out of it. I mean, as I said, I can probably cover my trips with a fairly modest amount of gambling now, but it's taken me 5 years to get to that point. I'm a big fan of the Trooper, though. I think he gets a lot of flack on YouTube unnecessarily. It's very, very difficult to do a daily vlog. I don't know how he does that. I really, really don't. And it can be repetitive sometimes, but hey, life's repetitive, right? I just think his personality is great, and I wouldn't say anything negative about the Trooper. He, for me, yeah, I think probably the premier Las Vegas vlogger really over recent years. I don't think anyone else really comes close for me. So good on him. Okay, Adam Toner, have you ever completely run out of money when in Vegas, where you've had to use a bank card or something? I have used a bank card to withdraw extra cash, but more if I'm sort of out and about and not back. So if it's been too far to go back to the safe and I've had a card on me, I've sometimes gone to an ATM and got a few hundred out. I've never actually completely run out of money when in Vegas. I've spent it all, but I've never run out, meaning with days to go. You know, I may have a few hundred on the last day and then spend that, but I am quite good with money. I'm quite disciplined generally with money. I mentioned about getting myself into a strong financial position going into next year. I'm very good at all of that side of it, and I've always made fairly good financial choices down the years. So no, I don't think I ever would allow myself to get into that position. If, for example, I go in November and have a bad first night, I will adjust my gambling accordingly, because there will be no taking out more money when I'm there. You know, this channel has to fund the trips for the trips to continue. So, yeah, it will be more starting off slowly and seeing how it goes than, you know. I am despite the fact I come across sometimes as having had a few beers, even if I'm fairly drunk, I'll only go back to the safe if I can afford to do it. I'd never do it if I couldn't afford to do it, and I never have. Okay, Jason Goldstein. So pumped you're making a third trip this year. Well, it's actually the fourth, Jason. I always look forward to your videos. Are you flying into LAX and driving into Vegas, or did you just get a connector flight? I'm in New Jersey, and I've always wanted to fly into Los Angeles and drive to Vegas. Would be a cool vlog feature as well. Now, funny you should mention that, because yeah, I am flying into LAX, and I am actually going to do like a travel day vlog. Now, I really hate travel day vlogs. One of the reasons that my videos always start with me in Vegas is because I have an aversion to travel day vlogs. I just think I never really want to watch anybody else's, so I think, well, why would anyone want to watch mine? But this time I am going to do one. If you don't want to watch it, just skip on to part one, which will be the second day. And the reason I'm doing it is because there's been so many changes with UK flights recently. I mean, I live about 25 minutes from London Gatwick Airport, and I used to have, I could either go with BA, I could go with Norwegian, I could go with Virgin. There were multiple flights per week. The prices were cheap. I never ever went from Heathrow. There was no need. Virgin then relocated to Heathrow and reduced the size of their planes. Their newer planes are the Dreamliner planes, which are smaller. Norwegian then stopped the service because their planes won't take off if the temperature is over 105, so they ended up cancelling a whole load of flights one year. So pretty much now we're left with BA from Gatwick and Virgin from Heathrow with smaller planes. Now what that's plus you've had the Thomas Cook situation up in Manchester, where Thomas Cook have gone out of business. So Now people in the north of England don't have the choice they had. All of that has absolutely driven up prices for direct flights into Vegas this year. So when I was looking for a November trip, I think from memory it was around about 550 to 600 quid to go direct into Vegas, but only 200. I think it was about 300. But I then had enough reward points with Virgin to get a reward flight into LAX, which was about 260 quid. And also the number of reward points you needed to fly to LAX as opposed to Vegas was a lot lower. Again, Vegas always used to be about sort of 35,000. I think it's 55,000 points now. So everything's gone up with Vegas. So I thought, you know what, $260. I think it lands. Sorry, 260 quid. I think it lands around about 1:30 in the afternoon. I'm going to hire a car, and I'm going to try and drive to Vegas the same day. It's about 4 hours. If I get tired, I will get a motel or something. I don't think, bear in mind it's only going to be lunchtime. I think I should be able to make Vegas on the same day. Anyway, it's going to be a fun initial vlog, and I am going to vlog it just to see how I find it and whether it's an option for other UK visitors moving forward. So yes, it will be a cool vlog feature, I hope. And as I said, if you don't want to watch me getting there, I will start on day 2. I will start with part 1 of the regular vlog, so you can just skip that one. Okay, Martin MJ, Team MJ. Hi Matt, in your last Q&A I asked you about Patreon and you said you wouldn't fancy it. Obviously times have changed since then. What's the status of your Patreon and what are you thinking about perk levels and all that other Patreon stuff? Congratulations on the success. We will keep supporting you any way we can. Well, hi Martin, and thanks for asking that question. I'm not 100% comfortable with Patreon. I don't know. I never have been 100% comfortable with it. Some channels flog it to death, and I think it can come across as a bit money grabbing. I don't want to necessarily be like that. I've started selling the T-shirts. No one's under any obligation to buy one. If you want to support the channel by buying one, and you like the design of the shirt, then great. I do have a Patreon page, but I haven't launched it formally yet. I've got 3 Patreons, so a shout out to Peter, Matt and Kim, who managed to hunt down the Patreon page and have been supporting me over the last couple of months. I probably am going to launch it for 2020, so I think January 2020, when all this work stuff is finally behind me, I am going to launch it, and I'm going to have a private Facebook group for Patreon members. Probably do some live streams onto the Facebook group each trip, etc. I'm not going to have any perk levels. I'm just going to do $10 a month. Anyone that wants to do it, great. And yeah, I'd like to think that we can build a little community of people. There's absolutely no pressure to do it. But if you fancy supporting the channel, and to be fair, I do need the support to try and keep these videos going. So yeah, that will come January 2020, and obviously I'll mention it when it's sort of formally up and running. But thanks to the 3 of you who have done it so far. It's really much appreciated. Maggie O. Hi Matt, loving the weekly vlogs, and I'm happy to hear that you'll be back in Vegas soon. Would you post the link for your T-shirt website so it's available under your channel name when anyone views your YouTube videos? Yeah, okay, fine. It's mattbridgervlogs.co.uk, but thank you, Margie. Gary Lambert. A group of us are heading to Vegas in November. My brother has never played slots, but he will give them a go during the upcoming trip. What game strategy would you recommend for a beginner? I would start off fairly low bets. I would just double check that you're not being eligible for any of the progressives by playing low bets. Always read the rules of each game before you play it, because they can be quite complicated. For example, with quick hits, you have to be playing max bet to qualify for any of the quick hit progressives. That's one example. I would start off slow with low bets until you get the hang of it, and then if you're doing, say, $1 or $1.50 a bet, and you feel comfortable going up to $2.50, do it in your own time. There's no rush. But you're better off making your money last to start with rather than bowling in with $5 bets and burning out pretty quick. So that would be my probably my strategy to start with. Speed Racer. Hey Matt, really enjoy your vlogs. I mainly watch poker vlogs, but always come back to your vlogs, especially for the non-slot content. Just wondering if you think you'll eventually reach a point where you can make vlogs on a more full-time basis. I think I've covered that off actually. I'm doing them on a more full-time basis now anyway, so my plan is to try and keep the Friday vlogs going. There may be a slight, a few weeks between trips where there's nothing. So for example, this one is like, if you like, the season finale for August, and the vlogs will start up again sort of mid-November when I'm back. Hopefully I will then record enough stuff to keep the Friday vlogs going through to February, when I guess I'll try and fit a trip in to record some more. So it is going to be on a more full-time basis for sure. Sean Mack says, what's the difference in price between LAS and LAX flights? Well, as I said, I think I've already answered that one. Jason Coleman, if we win a jackpot hand pay, I understand that the USA, again, it's a tax question. I've already answered that. So yeah, just be careful where you're gambling, Jason. Gareth Dunn, hi Gareth. Reference your title sequence. I know the theme tune is from Play Your Cards Right, but where and how did you get the footage from? Cheers, Gaz Dunn, up the blades. Well, he's a Sheffield United fan, and I'm Sheffield Wednesday, so up the hours, I would say to that. Anyway, Gareth, yeah, I was always a big fan of Play Your Cards Right as a kid, and you might have noticed actually, a few people have asked me why I put the London Weekend Television theme on the start of the Friday vlogs. There's two reasons for that. One, as a kid growing up, I always remember the London Weekend Television. So on a Friday night, it would change from ITV to LWT, and so you'd have that sort of kicking off the weekend in London. And then one of the first Friday night programs was always Play Your Cards Right, which for US friends that's the theme tune that I use. I probably shouldn't be using it, but I haven't found any copyright issues with it as yet. It's based on the US game show Card Sharks, which I understand. I think I might be making a comeback in America. Is it now? But Play Your Cards Right's not been on for some time. It was always hosted by Bruce Forsyth. I love that show. In terms of the footage, I basically got somebody on Fiverr, Fiverr, to make it for me. I supplied the music and the logo that I had, and he did the footage, and I did pay copyright for use of the footage, so that's all paid for. I didn't set up a drone and start filming it myself. Okay, Tennessee 1974. Matt, this is Billy and Sarah Hobbs. We love your vlogs. Keep up the excellent work. Do you have a Vegas playlist you listen to while en route to Vegas? If so, how do I get it? I don't actually, but I may have to make one. I know Nikki and Claire did one for their California trip. Maybe I need to make one for my sort of LA to Vegas trip. Yeah, no, I don't have one actually, but I probably should do, bearing in mind I'm mad on music. And I have done in the past. I've made sort of 10 or 12 songs to play in the room before I go out, always gambling or Vegas related. I always used to like, actually, I don't know if any of you guys remember, there was a show called, a reality show called The Casino, which was about Golden Nugget. And that was when it was owned by the two brothers. And they had, that was showing over in the UK, and they had Matt Dusk as the performer in the showroom during that series. And as a result of that, I ended up buying Matt Dusk's album, Two Shots of Happy. So that actually would be an album that I would always play in the run up to a Vegas trip. It's some great old school, he's like a Sinatra type singer, got a great voice. I love the Two Shots of Happy, One Shot of Sad song, which was written actually, I think, by Bono and the Edge from U2, who actually, I can't stand U2, but that's a great track. So yes, if you haven't listened to Matt Dusk, give him a listen. Two Shots of the Happy is the album, and it always reminds me of Vegas, that album. Okay, Lorraine Miller says, when are you and the beautiful Suzanne getting married in Vegas, and are we all invited? Yeah, well, no, we're not. Suzanne's been married before. I've been married before twice. Once when I was very young. I don't really count that one. I've told you all about the second marriage. So, I have no desire to be sort of married multiple times, and Suzanne doesn't either. We've got a fantastic relationship. We're very, very happy. If I'm brutally honest, I never wanted to get married the first 2 times. I was sort of badgered into it a little bit. So I won't be badgered into it again, and Suzanne has no interest anyway. So we're happy as we are. So I've already done a Vegas wedding. Do I need another one? No, we won't get married. To all intents and purposes, we are married. We've been together 10 years, been living together since 2013. We've got a lovely house here, very happy together. So there's no, if it's not broke, there's no need to fix it, is there? Pippa Didoodah says, leave or remain. No comment. No way am I getting into that on here. My word, no way. I tell you what I will say about leave or remain. I think most people will probably agree. Just get it done now. Whatever your thoughts were initially. I mean, we have had to listen to Brexit talk for 3.5 years. Enough. It drives me insane now. It really does. Okay, John Randall says, have you ever considered moving to Vegas or someplace in the US? No, I haven't. I love America as a country, though, and I've visited a number of places, East Coast, West Coast, other than Vegas. One thing I do plan on doing, when I retire in 2023, I'm going to do a casino crawl across America. And I've had this plan for a few years now. And actually, funny enough, I did get the idea from, those of you that watch The Trooper. Do you remember Trooper Across America? That to me was his best set of vlogs. And as soon as he did that, I thought, you know what, I've always wanted to go to Atlantic City. And I would like to start in Atlantic City, and I'd like to map a route all the way across America. Suzanne's well up for me doing it on the basis that as soon as I hit Vegas, she will fly into Vegas and meet me in Vegas. So yes, this is going to be an epic trip. I'll vlog it daily. So yes, watch this space. 2023, probably, I don't know, be sort of April, May time, 2023. Start on the East Coast, finish on the West Coast. And it'll probably be the most interesting set of vlogs ever, actually, that one. So I'm looking forward to that. And that's not just a plan, that's set in stone. That's how I want to celebrate my full-time retirement, if you like. Okay, Mike Nebeka, I'm curious if you ever use a transit system in Vegas, like maybe the Juice Bus. I'm staying downtown over Christmas, but would like to visit the Strip for a couple of days, and I've never used ride shares like Uber or Lyft. I've used the Juice Bus a few times. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it at all. Very convenient to pick it up downtown and get on the Strip. It just takes so long. It really is such a slow ride. But if you're not in any hurry, it's great. I can't remember how much it costs now, but it's decent value. For me, I always take Uber or Lyft because you can get pretty much anywhere for less than $10. It's speedier, which is why I probably prefer it. Aussie Alba says, do you get comps soon after leaving? Can you go to another property for a day and then return free for the next? Oh, right, okay, yes. I see you hop about, which is a great idea, but are they earned months previously? Right. Now this is comp. There's a reason that I do the hopping around I do, in that you have to leave 72 hours between comps, and I think that's the same with Caesars or MLife. So what I tend to do is, what I'm doing this trip, I'm doing MLife for the first 4 days, then doing my 72 hours downtown at the Downtown Grand, where I now have a host, so he's comped those 3 rooms, and then back on the Strip with MLife again for a second comp. So yes, you have to leave it 72 hours. The other option would be to do MLife, Caesars, MLife, or Caesars, MLife, Caesars. So yes, you can do multiple comps with a 3-day break. So That's how I always do it, and that's the reason the longer trips are always structured that way. Okay, this is from Ryan, Anastas617. Ryan's got a YouTube channel, Anastas, ANASTAS617. So subscribe to him if you haven't already. Always happy to hear you have a bonus trip thrown in, and I thoroughly enjoy your walkthrough vids. You're a natural storyteller and narrator. Thank you, Ryan. I'll be ordering a shirt soon. I know you already have, and I know you've already got it. I've asked many questions in the past. This is a rather dumb one. How did your love for Budweiser come about? It seems most Europeans and many Americans make it their quest to slag off American beer at every opportunity. And also he says, I see you are leaving for home on Thanksgiving. Are you going to try and get a proper American Thanksgiving meal before your flight? My love for Budweiser, as I said, it was very early on in my Vegas trips, and it was because it was a beer I could buy everywhere. That's how I came to drink it. I like American beer. I quite like the lightness of American beer as opposed to European beer, for example. But I would never have light beer, if you see what I mean. But just the regular beers are fine. In terms of Thanksgiving, actually, when I booked it, if I'm honest, I didn't know I was coming back on Thanksgiving. I was in Thanksgiving in 2002 when we were staying at Treasure Island, and we didn't manage to find. I think things were a bit more difficult then at that end of the strip. There wasn't really that many places that were doing Thanksgiving food. My flight, I can't remember what time my flight is, but if I can get a Thanksgiving meal at a restaurant before I get on the flight, I will. I think it's quite cool being in America on Thanksgiving, and I'll be honest, I always feel that us in the UK we miss out by not having a Thanksgiving. I think it's a great idea that time of year and just before the holidays, and I always think it's such a shame that we don't celebrate it here. So yeah, hopefully I'll get something. I don't know. I'll certainly look out for it, depending on time of flight. Anyway, Richard Woodthorpe. I like the vlogs better the longer they are, as the drink takes hold and your tongue gets looser. That's very true. They just get better and better. But what I want to know is, you say from time to time you must go to the safe for another 400, etc. How much cash do you take with you to gamble with for the whole holiday? And is it separate from any other money you are happy to have a good time on the slots? Yes. I tend to just look at an average amount per day, which would include the gambling. I said the one in August, I had just under 600 a day. We'd already paid for the shows. I think we then booked Diana Ross when we were there, but we'd already paid for the shows in advance. So it was only really meals and gambling. And even with Suzanne, yeah, we go to a few nice restaurants, but by and large, neither of us would really. We would rather enjoy our evening gambling, drinking, and having a perfectly acceptable meal. What I'm trying to say is, we wouldn't be prepared to blow $400 on a meal for two. No way. But some places like the Virgil's Barbecue on the Link, Oscar's is great value for a really nice meal. We enjoyed Gordon Ramsay's Pub and Grill in Caesars this time. But it's more of an all-in amount, of which majority of it will probably be gambling, because I wouldn't need to really pay for drinks, and you've got to be very cute with getting free drinks in Vegas. You've got to sit in the right areas of the casinos, which you sort of learn over time. If a casino wasn't giving me free drinks, I would immediately leave and go to one that will. That's obviously easier downtown than on the strip sometimes, but no, it's the only reason I go back to the safe to get another few hundred is if I'm within my budget for the holiday. If I was like, for example, this trip is going to be 300 a day. If I'm at that limit, I will not dip into tomorrow's budget to carry on gambling. There's no way I would do that. Okay, next question, Teresa C. My question is related to your obvious love of music, as I've noticed that you often take in concerts in Vegas. Two-part question. We've always found that as US residents, most artists or bands that appear in Vegas, the ticket prices are usually more than when they're appearing closer to home. Do you find the ticket prices are cheaper for you in Vegas than the UK? And the second question is there an artist or group that you regret never getting the opportunity to see before they either died or the band disbanded? Yeah, that's an interesting question. Thanks, Teresa. Yeah, I think Vegas tickets for the first few rows are incredibly expensive. I know Share was like $300 each. I mean, that's $600 for two people. That's crazy. And when I was going to go and see Lynyrd Skynyrd, it was the same crazy price for the ones at the front of the T-Mobile Arena. Obviously, that concert never ended up happening. And actually, in answer to your second question, Lynyrd Skynyrd would be one, because I've never seen them live. They were playing London in the June, and I saw they were playing Vegas. And if I was going to go to Vegas in August, I was going to make sure that I went the time they were on in Vegas. And of course, I didn't go to the London one because I'd booked the Vegas one, and then they didn't play the Vegas one because of illness. So yeah, Lynyrd Skynyrd is one that I really wanted to see before they disbanded, which doesn't look like I'm going to now. In terms of yeah, I mean, overall prices of live music has increased massively over the years. I went to see Soft Cell at their one sort of reunion concert at the O2 last year, and I paid for VIP tickets, and that, they were £300 each. I was in the front three rows, and it's probably my favourite band of all time, so I could justify it. I wouldn't do it for many. In terms of other bands that disbanded, there's two that I would have liked to have seen. First one is the Sex Pistols. I'm still hoping they might get back together one more time, because I really regret not seeing them when they did get back together. Was it 96, I think? And Throbbing Gristle would be the second one, who are an industrial band. I couldn't possibly recommend them for you to listen to, because it's a whole lot of noise. But Throbbing Gristle basically got back together in about 2004 and then disbanded again in 2010. I should have gone to their concert. So those are the two artists, really. I was lucky enough to see groups like the Smiths when they were together, which I know a lot of people would love them to get back together. That will never happen, but I saw them quite a few times in the mid 80s. But I've always liked the same groups, so I guess there aren't that many that I didn't see back in the day, because my taste hasn't really changed. Okay, Sonial Aver233 says, was wondering whether you'll be driving from Lax to Vegas. Road trip vlogs would be awesome. Well, there you go. It's coming up. David Brown says, how often on average while you're in Vegas do you get recognised per day? And also, do you welcome it, or can it be bothersome? Absolutely love your vlogs, and honestly hope to run into one of these trips and buy you a bud. Thanks so much for the entertainment. Thanks for bringing that up, David, because actually I hadn't thought of it, but I would like to actually cover this off, because I do feel very, very guilty these days, because like when I put the Q&A video up, for example, I probably got 10 emails from people saying, oh, I'm going to be in Vegas when you are, would love to meet for a beer and play the slots. Now, as much as I'd love to meet everybody, it just isn't possible. I would do nothing else. So first I want to apologise for the fact that it's not always possible for me to say hello to everyone that would like to. And that's not me being, what's the word? Difficult, or not necessarily wanting to. It's just physically a matter of time. It's impossible not to. But what I do really like, there's so many people that I bump into in casinos these days, and it's great to see everyone. I'm always, I'm a very, very small channel in the overall scheme of YouTube. Coming up to 10,000 subscribers, while that's a big deal for me, in the overall scheme of YouTube videos, it's a little pinprick. But I guess it's fairly niche. So therefore, when you vlog Vegas, really Vegas is a very small city, isn't it? In terms of how many times a day now, it's a lot actually now. The first time anyone ever recognised me actually was only 2018 was the first time, and I would say, sorry, 2017 was the first time, but it's gone steadily increased since then. I would probably say somewhere between 3 and 8 times a day on average. which is unreal. But I love the fact people watch, and I love the fact that we all have a shared passion for this great city. That's what I really like. Now, I did actually start the group pools up to try and basically get everyone in a room at the same time that would maybe want to have a beer and play the slots. That was the idea of starting the group pools. But really what has ended up happening is I'm doing the group pools, and then I still get a whole load of people that want to meet up in addition to that. So this is why it all gets very, very difficult. And I hope you all understand it. It's not me being difficult. It's just logistics and time. And but if you see me, say hello. I've met so many nice people in Vegas, and some more than once. Okay, this is from Xzol, sorry. Do you, or anybody reading this, have any hints on getting free rooms, free play for someone who hasn't been to Vegas in years? Well, I'll stop that question there because I think I've covered it. Just play with your card every time you play. That's all you need to do. Sign up on their players card app or website. Check your offers. It's that straightforward. It really is that straightforward. Okay, Richard Smoot says, always watch your vlogs. I have a question. Would you ever move to Las Vegas or anywhere else in the US? I think I've covered that, Richard. Carlos Morales. This time round, I want to explore more hotels during my stay. Which affordable hotels do you recommend? The Mirage is always a must for me. Loved it. Yeah, I love the Mirage. In terms of affordable hotels, well, I would recommend for location, if you want to stay strip central and affordable, I think Bally's is a great option. I really do. If you're going to be at that front tower, I just wouldn't be on the side that looks at Paris, because Paris have a nightclub and that can get very loud. But if you're looking at the side that looks at Cromwell, we never had any sound issues whatsoever there. So I would go for that. Flamingo, as you know, is not one of my favourite ones, particularly. I've never stayed at Harrah's. I guess you're then sort of looking at the south end of the strip for affordable places. I love Luxor, love Mandalay Bay and Delano. I don't have a problem being south end of the strip. So, well, obviously because I'm staying at Excalibur and Mandalay Bay this trip, so I'm clearly comfortable staying down there almost constantly. Up the other end, I think TI is a good option. I enjoyed staying at TI, particularly when it's not summer season. So yeah, they would probably be my choices. I'm also staying at Planet Hollywood, so if you want to see what that's like, and that's fairly affordable, then I'll be doing a vlog, a walkthrough, and a review of Planet Hollywood as well when I'm there. Okay, Christine Keypence. I always love the vlogs, Matt. I'm just curious why you never play table games or video poker. Well, I think I've already mentioned that, and she also wonders why I predominantly drink only Budweiser. Well, I think I've answered that. Bradley wants to also know whether I'm going to do a pre-travel day vlog. Well, yes, I am. Peter D says, can I ask what a typical 24 hours looks like for you in Vegas solo and how it differs when you're with Suzanne? Again, I think I've probably covered that off. Suzanne only comes in the summer, so there would be far more pool action, far more eating and actually having proper food. Solo is basically gambling, drinking. I used to maintain my my running in Vegas religiously. Because of the vlog now takes up time, I've pretty much decided to knock that on the head when I'm on holiday and pick it up again when I'm back home. There's just not enough hours in the day to do both. So a sort of spa break and a run would have always been on my pretty regular Vegas day, but not so much now. So it's more gambling on my own. That will change this trip, as I said, because of the bankroll. But there'll be an awful lot of filming going on, so that will certainly keep me going, I'm sure. Okay, Rob Allen. He's talking about. Hi, Rob. I know Rob. He's talking about a t-shirt order. I know he's got his t-shirt order in, and he was hoping to get it by the end of October. Well, hopefully you've got that already, Rob. David Fox, which casino resort, in your opinion, has kept its character and vibe the same from your first trip to now? That's an interesting question. That's a very interesting question. I think Luxor. I mean, you can't rip out a theme of a pyramid, can you? So it was always going to remain, a Luxor-themed hotel. I think that's not really changed. I think Mandalay Bay is not really changed. I like the expanse of Mandalay Bay. I like the spaciousness of it, and for a very big sort of gaming area, I've always liked it in there for slots. New York. I think, as I said on my my walkthrough, has lost a bit with the Apple Bar being ripped out. But on the whole, that's still got a good vibe, and the same as it was from when I first started going. Cosmo, I know it's only been going a few years, but that to me is probably the best vibe of a slots-based casino on the Strip for me. It's always a great vibe in there, and they've got so many machines. It's a young, happening crowd, so that would really be towards the top of the list. And also, to be fair, all of the properties downtown have never changed. Apart from improving the decor and having been renovated, I've always enjoyed all of the downtown properties in their own unique way. So if you haven't seen my downtown walk, I know it's a bit more of a niche video because it's downtown, but if you're interested in the properties downtown, both to stay at and my experiences of playing in them, then there's the 2-part downtown walk, which is up on my channel if you care to look. Okay, Peter Murphy says he was booked with Thomas Cook. Sorry to hear that, Peter. And he's lost his trip. He's rebooked with Dial a Flight. Do I have cheaper, better options for flights? Well, I'm sorry, I don't. I think it's, us Brits are in a difficult position with flights. You've just got to search. I always use Skyscanner, so I would keep an eye on Skyscanner. You can put dates in and have alerts when prices go up or down. So keep an eye on Skyscanner because it does look at pretty much every operator and website, I think. That's pretty much where I look. Luck is long gone. Well, I hope mine isn't. Says, why do I like downtown so much? He or she says, I don't feel safe downtown. Sorry, it's a he. I don't feel safe downtown walking around with my wife. A little freaky when you're not on Fremont Street. Is it just us? What are your thoughts? I think maybe because I've grown up in London, and I've always sort of gone up to Soho and some of the less sort of salubrious areas in London. I've never felt unsafe in Vegas at all. The Fremont East area before Fremont East popped up was a little bit dodgy, but that's long gone now. So that, you're looking at 10-15 years ago when that was the sprucing up, if that took place. I don't feel unsafe at all. There are more sort of homeless and beggars and what have you downtown, but on the whole, I never have. Even walking sort of from the Cal down to downtown Grand. In terms of why I like it, it does remind me a bit of Soho, but with lots of casinos. I like the compactness of it. I like the fact that if I want to go from Golden Gate to Binions, it's a minute and a half away. I like the fact I can literally crawl from Plaza to El Cortez in the course of a day. And I don't feel like I've, worn out a pair of shoes in order to do so. I like the vibe there. I like the fact that it's cheap. I like you get great drink service pretty much anywhere downtown. I just like the basic nature of it. I'm just that way inclined. It's more of a sort of pub sort of culture down there. If I was looking at sort of UK pub life, and even that's changed a little bit in the UK with pubs nowadays. But if I sort of go back, I don't know, 20 years, Fremont Street is like the old style pubs used to be in the London area. Very buzzy, lots of them around the same sort of location, lots going on, and that's why I like it. I will never stop going on the Strip though. I have to reiterate that for different reasons. David Knox says he's flown to Vegas from Gatwick via Dallas, and it was such a long journey. You mentioned that you were not flying direct, and my question is, are there less flights leaving Gatwick now? Well, I think I've covered this already. yeah, it's a bad situation. Excuse me. Okay, ASC says about websites that I use to get the best deals. I think I've already covered that as well, ASC. JJ Dub 83 says, I want to get your thoughts on the following topics questions. I'm going to rattle through a few of these because we've come up to an hour and a half, and if any of you are still with me, I hope you are, but we're going to wrap this up shortly. Which casino resort plays the best music in the common areas? That's an interesting one. Actually, I do find a lot of Vegas casinos do 80s music, don't they? Whether it's by the pool or in the casinos, it's pretty much 80s. I don't think there's one that is outstanding. One thing I don't like is the booming music just over you, particularly when you're trying to film, because obviously you're more likely to get copyright strikes. But I think they're all much the same, to be honest. Which casino resort has the most comfortable chair for slot/table games? Again, I think they're all pretty much the same. Don't they come with the actual? I always thought they sort of came with the machines, or some of them do, don't they, if they're attached to the machines. But I always think Bellagio is pretty comfortable in terms of they have their own seats and they're pretty comfortable. Which casino resort smells the best? Well, I do like the smell at Mirage when you go in, that front door going up towards the foliage and the fountains and the dome, and yeah, that is amazing, absolutely amazing. So I would probably say that. Okay, Marilyn Welver says, as an LV historian, I would like to hear you talk about the mastermind of the design of the strip. Is there a single person responsible for the design, or some architectural company, etc.? For example, who decided to put the Eiffel Tower where it is? Same question for the downtown area. I did view your LV strip walk videos and enjoyed very much, but don't think this question was discussed. I don't know. Is there a grand design? I wouldn't think there is. I mean, it does look great, but I wouldn't think there's someone overseeing the whole design. I guess there's, planning laws and everything, but I can't see that. No, I can't believe there's an overall design. If you know any different, let me know. Vicky B. I wonder if you would consider doing more content around food and the restaurants you and Suzanne visit. As I said, it's just not me. I don't really. I'll always show a little bit here and there, but it just doesn't excite me. It's as simple as that. And there's plenty of guys. Nikki does fantastic food reviews. Ben as well. There's plenty of people that do it. It's just not me. Okay, Gary Lambert says best casino on the strip for atmosphere, Cosmo. Johnny Vegas, hi, Janie Vegas. Sorry, Johnny, if you're watching. Janie Vegas. Hi, Matt. My questions are about your bankroll. Feel free to ignore if it's too intrusive. No, it's not intrusive. What is your daily budget for gambling? Well, as I said, this trip will be about 300. If you have to do the walk of shame back to the safe, are you still using your daily budget? I think I've already answered this. I would never go into the following day's budget for sure. And when you go as a couple, what's your favourite place to eat? Oscars. Which bars with free entertainment do you recommend? I do like bars with free entertainment, and that's one of the reasons I used to love the Apple Bar at New York. There's a bar there's a lounge in Bally's towards the back. When you go towards the back off to Paris, there's a bar there. I forget the name of it. There's always some good entertainment there. Also in Paris, there are a couple of bar areas which always have decent bands on. Fremont Street is the best in terms of bands for me. I always make a point of seeing certainly that 80s band that's always there. They're excellent. In the Plaza downtown as well has a decent sort of 70s disco type band on. Those would be my picks, I think. Laurie R says, I was wondering if most casinos have drink service on the machines. And do you or Suzanne have a favourite place in regards to drink service? I guess when you're saying drink service on the machines, you mean the automated service that they used to have at Westgate. No, they don't. And I think in Westgate they've got rid of it now anyway. In terms of favourite place for drink service, it's definitely Downtown Grand, downtown, but on the Strip, well, I think last trip it would definitely have to be Bellagio when we realised we could get Angry Orchard there. we were ecstatic. So, and the service there, both for me and Suzanne, and when the pair of us were with Dave and Michelle. Hello, Dave and Michelle, if you're watching. Was second to none, both in Cosmo and in Bellagio that night. Okay, Sam Southwell says he wants to ask about slots at bars in casinos like video poker. Are all casinos the same in your experience? Do all of them comp drinks if you're playing on one of the games at the bar? I never really played the slot games at the bar, if being honest with you, Sam. So I can't really comment on that. I would imagine they would all be the same. My understanding is, actually, yes, Suzanne and I were playing Keno at the bar in Hooters this last trip. And I think providing you've got $20 in a machine and they're playing, they will give you a free drink. I think that's the rule. Correct me if I'm wrong, everybody, but I think it's $20 in a machine and you'll get a free drink, regardless of how quickly you're playing or anything like that. Okay, Janie Vegas again. Betting strategy, do I have a fixed amount that I put into machines, then move on even without a bonus? Do I alternate between max and minimum bet? Well, I did when I won the major at Downtown Grand, as I've already said, but I don't tend to do that. But it was quite fun trying it, and I may well do that next time as well, a couple of times. Do I have a fixed amount that I put in a machine? Very, very rare. I would tend to do over 100 in a single machine, unless it was a $5 machine. But I would probably put 100 in until I got a bonus, and it would I'd either get a bonus and then probably move on, or the 100 would go. But yeah, paying $2.50 a bet, you ought to get a bonus within the 100 more often than not. I know you're all probably shouting on the screen saying, well, that doesn't happen with me, but in my experience, normally, whether the bonus is any good or not is another thing entirely, by the way. Okay, TG Lip 24. I don't think we've ever heard you address the Mandalay shooting much in the vlogs, understandably as it's a morbid event, but for fans of Vegas, it was certainly a moment in time when you remember where you were when you heard the news. Where were you? I'm sure your reaction was shocked like the rest of us. And did you have any previous stays at Mandalay in the neighbourhood of that room? Did it ever make you think twice about staying there again? Not so much out of fear, but just the aura of it all. Yeah, an interesting question. And I must admit, when I went back to Vegas straight after the shootings, I did think about whether I should do anything, mention it, or how I would handle the shooting. And I just thought it was best not to, only because I want the vlogs to be upbeat. There's nothing that I can say that is going to be in any way helpful at all, I don't think. I was absolutely... I mean, I was massively affected by 9/11, and that still, to this day, is the most shocking event I've ever seen on a television screen, or been alive while it was happening. I was actually, when the shooting happened, I was actually on the bus on the way into work, because it was about 7 o'clock or so in the morning in the UK. And I was on my phone, and all these messages started coming through, and obviously I think probably it was on Twitter, and it was all it was all on there. So I was following it pretty much on a trip into work. I'll never forget that. Just an absolutely shocking event, and yeah, I mean, I've got nothing more to say on it. It's awful, absolutely awful. In terms of whether it would stop me going back to Mandalay Bay, well, I have stayed at Mandalay Bay, well, Delano since. No, it wouldn't. And I remember going back to Vegas a month or so after 9/11, and actually we stayed at Mandalay Bay then. And I have a photo of me actually in a rubber ring going around the lazy river at Mandalay Bay. I think it was mid-afternoon. It might have even been a weekend, you know, and I remember there were a lot less visitors to Vegas in the wake of 9/11, but I would never let anything like that stop me doing what I want to do, because if you do that, then they win, don't they? But I do remember a year or so after 9/11, it was a lot quieter in Vegas. But I wouldn't know if I want to stay at Mandalay Bay, I'll stay at Mandalay Bay. It was a tragic event, awful. Of course, I'll never forget where I was when it happened, just like I'll never forget I was at work when 9/11 happened, and I remember again in the evening of that day, just sitting open mouthed watching the TV and everything. And even to this day with 9/11, if there's ever a documentary on it, I'll watch it. Yeah, my thoughts to all family of, well, both events, because just horrific, absolutely horrific. We live in a really evil world at times. We really do. But anyway. Okay, this is from Sam Southwell as well. Can I explain about slot denominations? Does it make any difference playing 1, 5 or 10 cent? Well, I think I've already covered that. The higher the denomination, the better the return to player over the long term. In the short term, you probably won't notice much of a difference. Okay, Lotto Vegas. Matt, after watching your videos all these years, I've kicked around the idea of doing my own. Just wondered how to get around getting in trouble with the music they play in all the casinos. I'm also wondering about the editing program you would recommend for a novice. Thanks for the hours of fun and laughs you have supplied over the years. All the best. Okay, I'm gonna finish the vlog with this. We're on an hour and 40 minutes. I think that's enough of my voice for anybody, and I need to have another beer. So I'm gonna stop. Otherwise, I'm gonna get hoarse. In terms of the music, yeah, obviously, if you're well, even if you're not monetized, you can still get a copyright strike. I've actually been quite lucky over the last few years that I think I use a Galaxy and have done for a few years now, and I'm currently on a Galaxy S10 Plus, and it tends to be very good with the audio, and then it picks up my voice, but not necessarily all of the background noise. So I've not actually had that many copyright strikes. The odd one here and there, but not that many. In terms of editing program, I use Power Director for Android. Of course, you're not going to get all your flashy transitions, and you can do basic editing on it, add music, all of that type of stuff. And for me, it's perfectly adequate for a good, clean video presentation. It's very important for me and my channel for me to upload videos when I'm in Vegas. It would not be the same for me, and I'd probably lose interest if I recorded in Vegas and then uploaded when I get home. I thoroughly enjoy uploading the walk around videos when I'm at home, but in terms of the sort of gambling content, I like uploading it as soon as possible, i.e. the day after, with an update as to where I am. So literally what I will do is I will do the summary at the end of a vlog with where I am for the day and where I am for the trip, and then upload it there and then I literally start afresh with pretty much everyone knowing where I am at with the gambling. So to me that's important, and it drives me on to keep doing the videos, and I'm Nicky does a fantastic job with all of his editing, really great. I'm not really into that side of it. As long as the presentation is good, I'm very into trying to be as steady as I can with the camera. As long as you can look at it through without having a headache, and it's more about me explaining things, and I like discussing the history of places and my history, and I love explaining the gambling, whether I'm up or down, how I'm doing. It's more about the content for me than the video, going too overboard with the video graphics and everything else. But that's, everyone does vlogs differently, right? And there's no right or wrong way of doing it. If you want to do it, just do it your own way, and I'm sure they'll come out great. And it's the difficulty these days, I guess, if you're just starting out, is trying to stand out amongst the tens of vlogs that now literally every week there seems to be a new one, and it's quite difficult to keep up with them after a while. But we've had some fantastic vlogs that have come out. Matrix 2021, I have to shout out to him, because his vlog made me absolutely cry with laughter. Absolutely brilliant. So I hope he gets back to Vegas soon. Anyway, I know I haven't done all of the questions, but we're now on 1 hour 45 minutes, and I need to stop talking. So apologies if I didn't get to yours, but I got to most of them. I will be back with you from the 18th of November. It's 10 days. As I said, there will be a travel day vlog. Then we hit Vegas hard. You've seen I've mentioned the walk around that I've planned. So I hope to see you then, and take care if you've got trips planned. And thank you so much, everybody, for all the support. Until next time.